For today's lesson, we're going to discuss classifying linear systems of equations. Your lesson preview, take a look. You should know how to graph using your intercepts and y equals mx plus b. Where these two lines intersect is going to be your solution. Which method is better? Look at each question. Would you use elimination or would you use substitution? In this problem, you have y equals. You might want to use substitution. For our second problem, your x's and y's are nicely lined up. Go ahead and use elimination. For your third one, you get choices. You could either divide by 3 so that you could use substitution or rearrange the problem to use elimination. So you do get choices. For your third questions, systems of equations can come in more than 2 variables. It is possible to solve larger systems of equations. In this case, you have a 3 by 3 system of equation. You want to start small, eliminate using either the B's or C's. Then resubstitute, find your missing variable, and substitute into your first equation. So these ideas can be extended. First, decide which method is going to be best. Taking a look at example 1, I have y equals on both sides, so I'm going to use substitution. 2 times the quantity x minus 1 is going to be equal to x plus 1. 2x minus 2 equals your x plus 1, so x is going to be equal to 3. Once you have your x, go ahead and find your y. Y equals 3 plus 1, so y is going to be 4. List your answer as an ordered pair, so we have 3, 4. This has one answer, so that makes it a consistent system. So if you have one answer, it is a consistent system of equations. For my second problem, you have to decide, once again, for this problem, I'm going to decide to solve for y. So I get y equals x over 2 plus 1. Rewrite my problem so that my second equation is y equals 1 plus x over 2. So if I take x over 2 plus 1 and I set it equal to 1 plus x over 2, now I'm ready to solve. Move my variables to one side. If I subtract x over 2, the x's will be eliminated. I'm left with 1 equals 1. So 1 equals 1 is a true statement, but my x's have been eliminated. This tells me that it is a dependent system because my lines overlap. So when we classify this system, dependent is going to be the type of system, and there are an infinite number of answers because your lines are overlapping. Remember, there are 3 types of systems. Inconsistent, which means there's no solution because your lines are parallel. Consistent has one answer, and dependent system, which gives you an infinite number solution because your lines are overlapping. For example 3, as you read it, notice that you do not have 2 equations. You're going to have to find them. In order to find these 2 equations, write the 2 equations using points and slope. So I'm going to start by writing a linear equation for the comics now. 2005, I'm going to refer to as x equals 1, and I'll have 130, and that'll be books that are sold in that year. For 2006, I'm going to call that year 2, and I had 170 books that were sold. As you'll recall, we're going to write the slope of the line, taking 170 minus 130 divided by 2 minus 1, which will give me 40. So using y minus y1, so that's y minus 130, equals my slope, which is 40, times x minus 1. Simplify a little bit more, y equals 40x minus 40 plus 130, so that's going to be plus 90. So that's my first equation. I'm going to write a second equation. This equation is going to be for my Dynamo Comic. And the 2 points I'm going to use for this equation will be 1, 180 and 2, 220. All right, to find my slope, so m is equal to, oh, look at that, I get 40 again. I could actually stop right now, because if your slope is 40 for both equations, well, maybe I shouldn't stop. One of two things is going to happen. They're either going to be parallel lines, or the lines are going to be on top of each other. So write my system. I have x minus 1, cleaned up, y equals 40x negative 40 plus 180 is going to be a plus 140. So these are not the same lines, but they do have the same slopes. And in that case, there is no solution because you have parallel lines. And if there's no solutions, it's classified as an inconsistent equation, system of equations. For example 4, we're going to solve and classify these systems any way we want. For number 4, I'm going to use elimination. I'm going to eliminate the y's. So 2x plus y equals negative 4. Negative x minus y is 7. Put our numbers together. We have x equals 3. Take your 3, substitute it in for your x. We will have 2 times 3, which is 6, plus y equals negative 4, in which case y is negative 10. And we know that this is a consistent system of equations, and that it has a solution of 3, negative 10. The next equation, I'm going to use substitution. 3x plus 1 is equal to 5x minus 3. 2x is going to be equal to your 4, so x is 2. If x is 2, y is going to be 6 plus 1. Again, this is a consistent system of equations. X is 2, y is 7. Number 5, find the values of k for which the system will have no solution. All right, so if we have no solution, that means that when I try to combine these values, it's not going to make any sense. So I'm going to try to eliminate x's. I'm going to multiply by negative 2 in order to eliminate my x's. I get negative 4x plus 10y equals negative 16. Combine that with 4x plus ky, that's going to be equal to 17. So we know that 10 plus k times y has to be equal to 1. So in order for this to have one answer, k can be any number except, well, I'm not sure, we should put these numbers in. If I substitute negative 10 in, I get 0 times 1 times y equals 1. Wait, that makes no sense. Whereas if I put the 5 in, I will get negative 5 times plus 10 is 5 times y equals 1, so y could have an answer. The only one that won't have an answer when I do my substitution is a. So the k value must equal negative 10 for this to have no solution. So a system with no solution is classified as inconsistent. The system has no solution because the graphs are parallel. A system with infinitely many solutions is classified as dependent. A system with infinitely many solutions, because the graphs are on top of each other. Complete the problems on this page. As a reminder, let's graph y at minus 5 greater than 4 times x minus 2. The point in the point slope form that you should see is 2, 4. Your slope goes up 4 and over 1. The line is dashed because there is no equal sign. Choose a number or point. I'm going to choose 0, 0. Is y is 0 minus 5 greater than 4 times 0 minus 2? Answer to that is yes. In which case, we're going to shade the region on the same side as 0, 0. For question number 13, you want to write the system of linear inequalities. Let's start with our horizontal line. The horizontal line comes in the form of y equals, and in this case, it's going to be a 5. We're shading below it, so all the y's are less than or equal to 5. My other line passes through 0, 0 and has a slope of 1. So we have y in relation to x, and we want to shade everything above it, so y is greater than x. Keeps this problem set a try.